The thing about Chelsea is life is never boring.
Hey chaps, welcome back to properchels.tv, your one-stop Chelsea news channel. I'm your host, as always, Logan Blue. Now today we get to dive into the fun topic of Chelsea versus Newcastle in the English Premier League. So after our fun in Greece, where we thumped Panathinaikos 4-1 away in the Conference League, second round match, which was our B team, we now get to play our A team against Newcastle. Now, Newcastle, of course, are owned by the Saudis and have more money than probably anyone except maybe Manchester City's owners, and although maybe they have just as much. But the issue with Newcastle, or the issue for Newcastle, is that they can't spend the money that the owners would love to spend, because it's not the Wild West of the early noughties when Roman bought Chelsea, when there were no rules. You could just spend whatever you like. You want to spend, 5 times what everybody else is spending, you can go ahead and do it without any sort of kickback. Now, of course, there are profit and sustainability rules which stop Newcastle from spending the amount of money they would no doubt like to spend, because as an oil-rich nation, they wouldn't miss the money at all, especially with their whole sports washing, Project 2030, World Cup in Saudi Arabia, where they're trying to get Saudi Arabia noticed for all the right reasons, as opposed to for their human rights violations. So yes, sports washing, such a beautiful thing. Not. But yeah, so Newcastle, however, separate to their owners, they have a great bunch of fans. They're really vociferous. It's a one team, one city team. So there's only one team in Newcastle that everybody supports, as opposed to say like London, where there are multiple, or Birmingham, where you might be Birmingham or Aston Villa, etc. So they when we play them at St James's Park, it's always tough. We always have a tough time, and we'll come to that in the League Cup next round, which we play them in a few days. But for the EPL, they're at Chelsea, they're at Stamford Bridge, so I think we have the beating of them at Stamford Bridge, in the form we are in and in the form they are in. Now, Newcastle have had a very, mediocre time of it recently. They've won, lost, drawn, lost. So they lost to Brighton at home, which is a big thing because, like I said, they're very, very good at home. They drew 0-0 away to Everton. Yeah, not so good, because Everton are not particularly great. But the last result before that, they drew 1-1 with Man City at Newcastle. Again, they're very, very solid at home. And the one before that, they lost 3-1 away to Fulham, who are having a great season so far. So what do we make of their form? We make that they're nowhere near as good as they were a couple of seasons ago, when they reached the Champions League and got fourth. They really haven't invested in any noticeable way because of PSR rules, I suspect, meaning that the team has regressed, or at least the old saying in the EPL: if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. So even if their team is more or less what it was, everybody else around you has improved their squads and their first 11. So let's have a quick look at the Chelsea team that I think we will be going with, and we'll drill down into who should be getting in, despite having played well in the B team in Greece, and who should still be on the bench. Okay, here's my predicted lineup for the Newcastle game. We are, of course, going with a 4-2-3-1 formation, because that's Enzo's preferred double pivot formation, which morphs depending on the stage of play into any number of formations, from a 3-3-4, 3-4-3, 3-2-5. It it can be pretty much anything depending on where we are in the field and whether we are in possession of the ball or whether we are just pressing. So as you can see, I've gone for Sanchez in goal. Now, of course, he's not necessarily my preferred choice, although Jorgensen didn't exactly make us go, ooh, Glenn McGrath when we saw him in the Conference League. One brilliant save at the beginning, which was really good because, it was desperately needed. And one horrible flap at the end of the game when he just got himself in a muddle at the near post, which could have cost us a goal, not the game, but could have cost us, but didn't. So he's hardly getting any flowers from the fans, certainly not from Enzo anyway, but even the fans are not particularly excited or enthused about him coming in, even though we would probably like anyone but Sanchez in goal. But for now, Sanchez is the man. Cucurella played in Greece in midweek, but he's young and full of beans and doesn't tend to get injured, touch wood. And he'll play both matches back to back. Caldwell will come back in. He's had a nice rest. Fofana will come back in. There had been a bit of a clamour for Tosin to replace Fofana because Fofana hasn't been that good. But while Tosin apparently is a good leader in the dressing room, according to Enzo in his last presser, he commented on the leaders or the lack of leaders. But I don't think Tosin looked very good during the Liverpool match. I thought he was a bit of a liability. So is Fofana, but I think Fofana will just come back in to the back line because him and Caldwell have been playing reasonably well. I can't say well, and keep a straight face because our defense is nowhere near as good as our attack. James, I've got James in here. Now, James can't play 2 matches in a row, so there's a very good chance, 70% chance, that Gusto will play in this match. And I was tossing up whether to put both of them there. But James only really played a half of football in the last match, the Greece match. But he travels, and so there's travel and flights and all of that. And he's just coming back from injury. So the issue here for James is that if he doesn't come in, so if Gusto starts, this is a Premier League match, and if he's starting the Premier League matches, then he is our first choice right back. And James is in the B team. He's playing the Conference League matches, which as the captain, he does not want or expect. But Gusto has been playing extremely well at right back by and large, with the odd subpar performance thrown in. But he's certainly the guy that we want to choose in any given game, because he's a 7 out of 10 in pretty much every game he plays in, if not higher. Now, James, of course, can be a 9 out of 10 because he's James. But if he's not bombing forward in the way that he would have done in years gone past, in managers gone past, in formations gone past, when we had wing backs, that's really when he was at his best. When he was in his element, he was very good in defence because he's a very like say Trent Alexander for Liverpool, very good going forward. Beautiful right foot, right, wonderful right foot, but pretty so in defence. Reece James is fantastic as a defender, right, but was brilliant going forward, and had a cross on him, or has a cross on him that's just Beckham-esque. Not as good as Beckham, obviously, but like a very similar technique. And he's a great guy to be able to cross the ball to like a strapping number 9, if and when we get a strapping number 9, maybe in January. So I've got James here because when we are in possession of the ball, which I suspect would be about 60% of the time at home to Newcastle, I think we'll go to a back 3 as we normally do, which means that James will be in defence. So he will invert into midfield at some stages. Of course, he will, and he will venture forward at some stages. But I suspect that's going to be a limited thing in his sort of repertoire because A, formationally, that's not his job anymore, and B, we don't want him to pull a hammy, like sprinting up and down the line for 90 minutes. So don't be surprised if James doesn't start, is what I'm trying to say here. But I think if he can play another 45 minutes or 60 minutes and then Gusto comes in, then maybe that's the manager saying, yeah, okay, James, you're back and the position's yours. Gusto is now the backup again. But if Gusto starts this and James comes on at 60 minutes for half an hour or something like that at the end of the game, that's a big statement. And that's as much a statement on Gusto's form as on James's form, because you can't play both of them. Well, you can, I suppose, but you won't. And Cucurella is the one who will come into midfield more often than not on the left, which means that James is there in a back three. Right. So moving forward, I've got Caicedo, who's been playing brilliantly. We're certainly not dropping him. And I've got Lavia. A lot of people have talked about how Enzo didn't have a good season last season because he was injured, right? Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. He was having pain, injections every game. You can't play to your best form. But he is back. He hasn't got an injury now. And he's been playing okay. I don't think he's been playing badly. I don't think it's fair to say he's been playing badly. But he's not been playing as good as Lavia when Lavia's come in. So I'm gonna, I don't even think it's a hot take because I think most of us are on the same page here as fans. So I think Lavia was looking so good when he's played. He's so calm, especially playing out from the back. Like his ability to swivel on a dime is just like wow. He's so and his ball control. He's very much a ball. Like a good guy with a ball at his feet. So Lavia and Caicedo as the double six pivot. Okay, up front I've gone Madueke, Palmer, and Sancho. Just rinse, repeat, and Jackson up top. I think none of that will change. But I will say that like the James and Gusto kind of conundrum the manager has, I think the Madueke and Neto conundrum the manager has as well. So I think the position on the right is Madueke is to lose, but I think Neto is very much on his heels. Just like Lavia is on the heels of Enzo. I think, yeah, that position is up for grabs. And if Madueke, does great things, then he'll keep the position, and Neto will play as a sub and will be the guy starting in the Conference League. But that being said, Neto is, I was going to say a better player. I don't think that's fair. I think it's a coin toss at the minute. So yeah, so I know I've gone for Madueke because I think, as I said, it's his position to lose. Now with this formation and the fact that we're at home, I will say for a match prediction that we will get a 2-0 win. Keeping a clean sheet is something we haven't done, so it'll be heartening if we can do it. Newcastle have got a couple of injuries, especially up front, so they're not necessarily playing their strongest team. And even when they have their strongest team, their away record isn't that great. They're very much a team that's, as I said, strong at home. So I think a 2-0 result should be doable. I don't think we'll hammer them. I don't think it'll be a super easy game, but I think we'll score a couple of goals. Maybe they'll get one, but I obviously hoping that they won't. So yeah, 2-0, solid result, and we're back on the winning bandwagon because after losing to Liverpool, we have to win. We just have to win because if you look at Aston Villa and Brighton, their form is excellent. Although over the weekend just gone, both of them lost late goals to end up drawing the match as opposed to winning the match. So now is the perfect time. Get 3 points, on the board, and get 2 points on them because both of those are very good teams, and us, probably Man United, are the ones that are going to be challenging for that fourth place come the end of the season. So every point we can pick up, especially at home, we need to get a better our home form, better, because it's been quite mediocre, ups and downs. It's certainly trending in the right direction. So let's continue that and put Newcastle to the sword in this match. And then we have to go to Newcastle for the League Cup next round with a different team and an absolutely different, match approach, because we can't expect to have the same, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, the same amount of pep in our step to go to Newcastle when we have lost more games than we have won there in recent times. We have to give them a lot more respect away from home. But anyway, that's the next match. This match, 2-0 to the Chels.
Okay then, that's all the news that's fit to print, and quite a bit that isn't. As always, thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and God bless, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.